Energy is not a thing, it is a condition of balance. In the void between stillness and motion, something breathes, the unseen geometry that all engines, all hearts, and all minds obey. When you look upon a small motorized engine turning, what you truly see is not mere mechanics. You witness the dance of potential and actual, form and ether. This is the timeless rhythm of the world, clothed in metal and motion. There exists a little artifact that captures this quiet revelation, the simulation V8 engine toy with electric drive. To call it a toy would be a disservice. It is a meditation rendered in plastic and gear. It is an allegory of field dynamics made visible to the hands. In the hum of its miniature pistons, in the soft oscillation of its gearing, there hides a truth older than the automobile itself, that motion is not produced, but released, drawn forth from equilibrium, then returned to it. The history of the V8 engine begins not with the combustion chamber, but with the human urge to reveal harmony within complexity. 8 cylinders arranged in a V shape are not simply efficient, they are proportioned in the same way the ancients built their temples, by ratio and reflection. In the early years of the 20th century, Léon Levavasseur in France built such an arrangement for his Antoinette engine. He did not know, perhaps, that he was inscribing a geometry of balance into machinery, a pair of mirrored triads joined by a center line, forming the image of potential unity. Later, in America, engineers from Cadillac and Ford carried this form into mass production. In 1914, Cadillac's V8 entered the world like a note of harmony in an age of smoke. And in 1932, Henry Ford cast the V8 in a single block, a democratization of mechanical power, a sculpted symmetry available to everyone. It was more than a machine. It was a pulse, a kind of organized thunder. In the growl of a V8 lies not just horsepower, but human yearning, the desire to make invisible energy audible. Those who look deeper might sense that there is something archetypal about such engines. They are symbols of how power manifests through structured oscillation. In a V8, as in nature, opposites meet in rhythm, compression and expansion, intake and release, positive and negative, the electric and the magnetic. The engine is not a brute device, it is a field event made tangible. In the physical world, this motion is confined to the small realm of plastic gears. In the metaphysical, it gestures towards something vaster, the ceaseless conversion of tension into form, rest into vibration. The engine, then, is a lens into ontology itself. To build the V8 engine is to engage in quiet experiment. No combustion, no fuel, only electricity guiding plastic matter into living rhythm. Yet within that simplicity lies a profound allegory of creation. Each cycle repeats, and the mind begins to perceive recurrence as law. Motion is not noise but pattern. Pattern becomes language. And language, ultimately, becomes understanding. This is how true science begins, not in laboratories, but in the reverent observation of simple things moving according to unseen principles. When the model rests completed before you, it becomes more than an object. It becomes an emblem. It stands for what the industrial age once sought and what the digital age has forgotten, the beauty of tangible energy, the poetry of mechanics. The Model V8 engine invites you to return to that understanding. To touch what you can no longer see. To remember that the universe is not powered by explosions, but by relationships, between stillness and motion, between potential and expression, between mind and manifestation. And if the legend of Tartaria whispers of lost free energy, perhaps what was truly lost was not the technology, but the vision, the sense that energy was never something to have, but something to understand. The little motor turns, and suddenly that truth is evident again. The field is not distant, it is here, spinning before your eyes. In the end, the simulation V8 engine toy is a metaphor given form. It is a physical meditation on balance, polarity, and participation in the living field. Its hum is the sound of geometry in motion. You need not believe in lost empires or hidden technologies to sense its meaning. It suffices to feel the quiet satisfaction of movement, the soft glow of realization that power, whether mechanical or spiritual, is always borrowed from stillness. Energy flows because stillness allows it. Engines turn because equilibrium is disturbed and restored. Creation happens because the void desires to know itself. That is what this model truly simulates. Not a V8, not a car engine, but the universe itself, building and unbuilding, endlessly. Let it spin once more. Let the pistons rise and fall, the gears hum their steady hymn. And as you watch, know that this is not motion alone, it is remembrance. The remembrance of a deeper physics. The quiet hum of the ether's geometry. The eternal conversation between matter and mind. A small toy, yes, but behind it, a cosmos turning. It is here that the story of visible and invisible energy begins to blur. Across old maps there is written the forgotten name, Tartaria. Scholars dismiss it, yet its persistence in memory is telling. It speaks of a world that once dreamed of power drawn freely from the ether, towers that resonated with the air, domes that captured telluric breath. Whether such an empire existed is beside the point. The myth points to a longing, the wish to see energy not as a commodity, but as communion. The legend of Tartaria is a poetic echo of a truth that physics has long concealed under equations, that the field is the true substrate, and motion merely its visible tremor. When you assemble this V8 model and set its little motor spinning, you may feel that same duality. The electric current that flows into the motor is not power itself, it is a symptom of tension relieved. The plastic pistons rise and fall like lungs drawing ether. You become, in that act, a participant in the same story that gave birth to the great engines, the ancient human conversation with the invisible. Each of the 478 pieces in the model is precise, almost ascetic. There is pleasure in aligning gears, in watching order emerge from fragments. The act of construction itself mirrors the physics of manifestation, field to form, idea to structure. The battery awakens the motor, and suddenly your creation lives. You see the crankshaft turn, the pistons reciprocate, the gears translate torque into dance. But what you are really watching is rhythm itself, the heartbeat of electromotive symmetry. The miniature engine is not powered by electricity, it is powered through it. The true energy lies not in the current, but in the relationship between potential and motion. This, as Wheeler and Dolar often hinted, is where the ether reveals its signature, the unbroken continuity between stillness and dynamism. In that sense, the model becomes an instrument of contemplation. It teaches through beauty. It shows that technology, at its root, is a spiritual geometry, a way to make the intangible visible without reducing it to mechanism. When the small V8 hums upon your desk, it becomes both a toy and a teacher. It speaks the silent language of symmetry, polarity, and resonance. A person who builds this engine is not just constructing a model, they are performing a microcosmic ritual. Every fitted part mirrors a principle, inertia and induction, compression and release. The same ratios that govern magnetic flux and dielectric inertia shape the engine's layout. 8 cylinders, 4 and 4, balanced like twin polarities, turning around a central axis of stillness. The crankshaft itself is a metaphor of torsion within the field, rotation born of imbalance seeking rest. In the vocabulary of conventional physics, we speak of work done and energy transferred. But the field philosophers, from Faraday to Dolar, would say that what moves is not energy, but equilibrium. The so-called transfer is but a rebalancing of the dielectric tension of the universe. Even in this miniature form, the model captures that idea. The motor hums, the gears transmit torque, yet the source of the power remains unseen. You are reminded, as you watch it spin, that the visible is only the shadow of the real. One might ask, why build such a thing in an age when real engines are vanishing, replaced by sealed batteries and silent circuits? The answer is simple, because contact with motion restores understanding. Modern devices conceal their workings. Power is hidden behind plastic, computation behind code. The mind forgets the cause behind the effect. But the mechanical model exposes causality. It reintroduces friction, timing, sequence. It reminds us that knowledge comes not from abstraction, but from participation. This is why such a model belongs not merely to hobbyists, but to thinkers. It is an educational artifact in the deepest sense, a way to recall that all technology begins as philosophy of nature. The child who builds it learns more than mechanical linkage, they learn the feeling of harmony. The adult rediscovers that beauty, too, is a form of comprehension. There is another layer still. For those drawn to the forgotten physics of etheric resonance, the model becomes symbolic. The rotation of its crank mirrors the gyroscopic torsion that Dolar described in his analogues of field structure. The alternation of pistons echoes the expansion and contraction of dielectric pressure that Wheeler speaks of in his Metaphysics of Light.